Oh shit, you're in for one tonight, fellas. The ranch water is flowing. Am I having a little celebratory drink or 12 because my Sooners beat the shit out of Texas? Yeah, it's an NFL show and I'm wearing my OU hat because when the Sooners beat Texas, you know what you're going to be getting tonight? Fuck Texas, I'll be celebrating all night. If you don't like it, you might as well turn off now because I'm going to be doing it all fucking show. What's up, new guy? I'm the Degenerate75. I'm a DFS content creator who is here to help you get a little bit better at DFS. You're doing so many things wrong you don't even know, and you just go to these stupid fucking YouTube shows and expect to get picks and plays and think that that's going to fix you. It's not. What's going to fix you is learning what you're doing wrong and fixing your process. That is what this show is about. If you find you like it, well, hang around for the next 45 minutes. Ask a question or two. Also, get over there in the chat. I'm doing a drawing early tonight. You don't even have to ask a question. Just be in the chat because I'm punishing the lates. If you're going to be a slow, I will punish you. 7 o'clock means 7 o'clock. Not 7:03, not 7:06, 7 o'clock, you motherfathers. By the way, if you like the cut of my jib, check out that schedule. I do this show every Saturday night live at 7 o'clock, Lord's time zone. As always, I also do a little college football and golf. And, of course, I am the founder of the Showdown Hoedown. So every Monday and Thursday, I do the Showdown Hoedown at noon o'clock. So, you know, like if you have a normal job, just come watch it during lunch, right? That's what we do. That's how we do it. Let's get going. Editor, whenever you can, draw a name for me right over here in the chat. If they've said anything, they're in. Let them. That'll be our first winner. Get me likes. We'll do every 50 likes. I've been drinking. I'm feeling fucking generous, okay? Every 50 likes, we'll do another drawing. We're already at our first 50. Editor, hit that drawing. He says the bot may take a minute, but just know as long as you've said anything, you are eligible for the drawing. Let's get going. There it is. What a name. Elide 2. I don't know what the hell that means, but I'm glad you're here, homie. So, hey, reach out to me on Twitter, or if you're on the Discord, we'll build a lineup together. I will also be giving away some at the end, and I will be giving away all of you that liked and retweeted on Twitter. You are right there. I will also get you, okay? But let's start with contest selection. The first place, you are stepping on your dick. All right, so we have a 10-game slate tomorrow, and we have, it's DraftKings. DraftKings has, the best contest. You're like, why don't you talk about FanDuel? Let me think about it, because FanDuel fucking sucks. They gave up on DFS a long time ago, okay? When they quit on PGA, I quit on them, okay? That's how it's got to be. So, fuck FanDuel. There's the answer, okay? And DraftKings is pretty good to me, and they just have better contests. And this is going to be my thesis tonight, guys. You know how it always comes down to contest selection. You're going to go play in the Big Millionaire Maker. You're going to put your one lineup on it. You watch the show or two. You're feeling spicy about this guy that guy said on the show, and you're thinking, oh, I like that. And you're going to go put it in there, and you're going to lose. And you're going to be like, man, no one ever wins at DraftKings. Yes, they do. Some people do win at DraftKings. More importantly, some people don't lose every freaking time they play DraftKings. They're not playing in stupid fucking contests like this. I am really going to emphasize this. I'm telling you, if you want to make your money last, if you want to have a good sweat every Sunday, if you want to see when you make that bold stack or when you make that bold pivot and it pays off and you actually want to see the fruits of that come to fruition more often, then play in contests that have less than 5,000 people in them. Preferably less than 2,000, right? So when I see a contest right here and I say, ooh, this $3.20 max, I like the payout structure on that bad boy. That's actually a really great payout structure. Only 9% to first, a tremendous payout structure. But you're going to beat 440,000 people about as often as you are going to get struck by lightning. It's just not going to happen, okay? So I know it's fun to dream, and if that's how you want to do it, do it. But understand that it's such a negative EV tournament because those payout structures, look, 25th place. If you get 25th place, out of fucking 440,000 lineups, you get $1,000. That's insulting. That is insulting. So if you would just play in these smaller tournaments, right? And sometimes that may mean that you have to make fewer lineups, right? Instead of doing 20 or 50 lineups, do 1, 2, 3 lineups. Put them in some single entries. Put them in some 3 maxes. If your budget is $100 for the week, maybe the answer is you would be better being in 2 $50 single entries than you would being in $25 entries, right? That may be the answer, and you might have to change how you play. But being in these smaller contests, and you're like, well, I don't want to play at a $50. That's too much for me. Look, dude, they got $5 single entries. They got $3 single entries. They got everything you could ever want. $3 3 maxes, $8 3 maxes, $12 single entries, $33 single entries. They have everything you need. So no matter what you're looking for, they have it, and you need to play in smaller contests, all right? That's just always going to be my thesis. And then within that, another nice thing is you also want to look at payout structures, like the big 500K SPY, the $100 single entry. Notice 20% to first. We only want 10% to go to first, not 20%. So that's not the best structure. And when you give that much to first, just notice how quick this falls off. You beat 5,000 people, 5,500 people, and get 9th place in this tournament. You get $3,000 back on your $100. That's insulting, man. So here's this is the example I want to give you, right? Here is one of my lineups from last week, right? And if you think that I'm flexing, well, then you don't know who I am. I don't give a shit about screenshot flexing. You'll never see me do it. That shit's for the losers, okay? I'm putting this up here to illustrate my point that I'm trying to make to you. This is a good lineup at best, right? You can see I had three pretty big whiffs on it, right? One of the guys got hurt, and then I wouldn't even call Palmer a fucking home run, right? So I basically had 3.5 whiffs, and I was still sweating till the very end, right? This lineup was still moving up. It still got a good payday. This was, I believe, the $150 3 max, so I still was real close to winning money, and I still had all kinds of whiffs. But whenever you play in these contests where there's not 58,000 million bajillion people, you can still have good sweats even when you have an asshole or two in your lineup, or when Javonte says, oh, I got tackled, I'm fucking dead. All right, you can still have a sweat. This is what I'm trying to tell you. If you want DFS to be fun, if you want it to be sustainable, if you want to have sweats more often, then play in smaller contests. Yes, you'll never win $1 million playing in these contests, but that shouldn't be your goal. Your goal should be that you don't have a huge credit card payment come December because you lost so much damn money at NFL DFS. That should be your goal. Get to be sustainable, and then one day, I promise you, if you do it long enough and you do it well enough, you will hit a big lineup. The key is you got to not burn through all your money before you do it. Okay, this is my example. But the one contest you should definitely play in is mine. Go get in at the Hoedown Listener League. Get it filled. It only has less than 200 spots left. It is a $5 3 max reduced rake, and it builds the community. I appreciate all of you getting in there. A quick shout out to our winner last week, Trevor Bass 32, you mother father. And my dude, Sir Arlen, coming in second. Congratulations to those guys. Nice little payday for them. Thank you for supporting the contest. Everybody go get in it. The editor can probably drop the link right here in the thing. Editor, drop the link over here in the chat, right? All right. If I'm going to be the process guy, I better have a process tip of the week. And I'm going to give you the process tip of the week. And here you go. This week it is called, think about how you want your lineup to be constructed. Where are you spending up and where are you spending down? This is what everybody does, especially noob players, right? People who are not experienced. They say, ooh, I really like Justin Jefferson. I'm going to play me some Tyreek Hill and some A.J. Brown, some Jamar Chase. I'm going to play some Jalen Hurts and some Dijon Mustard. I'm going to play them all. Okay, well, that's great. But there's this little thing called math, and it gets in the way. Every time you commit to putting a high-priced player in your player pool, you need to be aware of what that does to the construction of each individual lineup. If you want to play Justin Jefferson this week, I get it. He's an unbelievable play this week. Just based off my projections, I think he's literally the highest projected person on this slate. But when you put a guy that I believe is $9,400 in your lineup, it has a dramatic impact on the rest of your lineup. And then you need to ask yourself, well, if I'm going to put Justin Jefferson in my lineup, where am I going to punt? And you better have an answer to that before you go starting to try to jam Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, guys like that in your lineup, right? Because you're not going to be able to get it done. And you also don't want to be having $3,000 guys in your lineup. So if you are going to be playing, say you want to get Jefferson and Hill in a lineup together. Okay, that's bold. And you're going to have to punt. So then you need to start asking yourself, where are you going to punt? Because if you think you're also going to get Dijon Robinson in that lineup, by the way, Longhorn right there. If you think you're going to be able to get him in that lineup and have any type of real chance of winning, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. You have no idea what you're doing, okay? You need to find, if I'm going to play certain guys who are expensive, where am I going to punt? So often I go look at the guys in the slate and I say, ooh, this is a week I am definitely paying up at running back, okay? Well, if I'm going to be paying $8,200 for running backs, or last week with McCaffrey, that was my big spend up option, $9,200, I had him in over 50% of my lineups. And I said to myself, well, if I'm going to pay up with him, I have got to be punting more at receiver. So I have to be putting plenty of cheap options in my player pool to be able to rotate with him, right? You already saw some of them. I had Downs on there. I had Josh Palmer on there, because to get those guys in there, there has to be a counterweight to it. So let's say this week, I think a lot of people are going to want to go big at wide receiver this week because there are so many great matchups for wide receivers this week. Well, if you do that, ask yourself this question. Am I punting at running back? Well, I don't know if you want to punt at running back because this ain't a great week to punt at running back. Most people want to punt ton at tight end. And I get it. That is the most logical place to punt. But what you could really do is you can try punting with your stacks. Okay, when you want to get expensive guys, consider punting with your stack. Everybody always thinks their stack is like the most holy thing ever. And, ooh, I've got to have Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert all together. No, you don't. Okay, if you can find a cheap stack who can just get close, right? Like if Anthony Richardson, he was not the top scoring quarterback last week, but he scored close enough to Josh Allen to offset that difference, right? And he also was in a game with Puka Nacua, who was noticeably cheaper than Stephon Diggs. So you could get there with those two guys, even with the super mega chalk going off, right? So you need to think about they don't have to be the leading stack on the slate. They simply just need to be close enough. And saving money on your stacks can allow you to get to those pay-up options. So the overall point is this. If you're spending up somewhere, you need to be spending down, and you need to be very cognizant when you put those expensive players in your lineup where you're going to spend down and have a strategy. And when you're building your player pool, you have to say, well, I'm putting Hill and Jefferson in here. I need to have a bunch of punt options, and I'm encouraging you to think about maybe making those your stacks. All right, there you go. That was your process tip of the week. You know what you need? You need an optimizer. This is called the Solver. You see that name right there, Degenerate75? That's this guy. Hashtag Sweaty Tryhard. You see all those? Those are my projections and my ownership. I make my own player pool, right? But then what this thing does right here, called the Solver, it makes the best versions of my player pool and gives me the best version so I can go enter those. It doesn't matter if you have a good player pool if you don't make the best version of that player pool, and that's what the Solver does. If you are trying to survive at NFL DFS and you don't have somebody with reliable ownership, reliable projections, and an optimizer to make you lineups, and you're like, well, I only make one lineup. Okay, but you still want to see what an optimized lineup looks like, right? And this can do that for you. And I'm telling you, you're going to want to have this. And I know you're thinking, oh, man, but I'm like a casual player. I can't afford like that $150 a month shit. I get that. I totally do. No price gouging around here. I wouldn't have partnered with the motherfathers. So if you want my projections, my ownership, and this Solver, $24.99 a month is all that costs, or you can just get all the sports for $39.99 a month. I do golf, I do golf showdown, I do college football, I do NFL, I do NFL showdown. All of them are loaded in there. I encourage you to check it out. Just when you do, use that little showdown, hoedown symbol right there, okay? That is the key. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to this slate, and then we will answer questions. This is the Rosetta Stone. Yes, this is the YouTube. I'm a poor version. You don't get all the fancy colors and the optimals and the projections and the ownership. That looks like this, but that's for my members. Deal with it, pal. All right. Oh, by the way, you notice we got the little dome. Isn't that cute? All right. First game, Houston and Atlanta. Let's run through this. This game is, it's in a dome, and Houston's been sneaky good this year, but I just refuse to believe that Atlanta, Desmond Ridder specifically, can throw a forward pass. And it just begs the question, is Atlanta ever going to be in a shootout? They're just so bad. Desmond Ridder is so bad. So C.J. Stroud, as good as he has been, as much as I like Collins and Dell, and I guess even Robert Woods, what the fuck? I cannot see this game going off. I can't. But that doesn't mean we don't want to play any parts from this game. I do think there's some really interesting pieces, right? I think that Collins and Dell are going to get ownership just based on how well they've been doing. They are clearly the top two receivers there, and Robert Woods is actually kind of even playable too. I wouldn't play him. I could come up with other guys. If I want to play 45-year-old guys that suck, I would play somebody else other than him. But to me, where it really comes down to is what do we do with Atlanta? I think everybody is going to play old Dijon Mustard this week, okay? By the way, Dijon, Boomer Sooner. And he's going to be a good fit. He is at home. They're in a competitive environment, and they've got to start using him more if they're going to be competitive. Houston has not been great against the run. Bijan checks every box you could ever want, right? But here's what you got to ask yourself, right? Is he going to get enough touches to pay that off? Because so far, he has not been getting enough touches to pay off a $7,700 salary, right? He's not getting them. And if he's not going to get at least 18 touches, it gets very hard for him to get there. Then you're relying almost solely on efficiency, and that's not what you always want to do on your $7,700 running back. So you need to ask yourself, how many touches do you think he's going to get? If you think the answer is over 18, then I think you probably want to play him. But I will say this, he is going to be popular as shit. Is there just a chance that maybe you would be better taking a safer running back and then spending those extra funds at running back or a wide receiver, right? Paying up for a Chase or an A.J. Brown or a Tyreek Hill or a Justin Jefferson. Only you will know the answer to that. If you really want to get gross, Drake London is getting some targets. He is on the field the whole damn game. It's just Desmond Ridder sucks so bad. That's the problem with wide receivers in the NFL. I think Drake London on most other teams would be good, but because he has Desmond Ridder as quarterback, he's literally a Division II football player. All right, Carolina, Detroit. If you haven't heard, we got to lead with the big news here. Jahmyr Gibbs, the rookie, is all the way down to doubtful. And let's face it, when somebody's doubtful in the NFL, they're like 100% out. There's no chance he's playing tomorrow, which makes David Montgomery like probably, I don't want to be dramatic, but he'll be 50% owned in GPPs tomorrow. This is already a team that's going to be favored. This is already a team that's run forward, especially with Amon-Ra out. And David Montgomery is going against this Carolina defense. He will be crazy owned. I think there's always a path to fading these guys, but I also think there's a path to playing 100% of them, right? I think he is as safe as you could possibly get, other than the fact that he's just a running back, and running backs get hurt a lot. The other big news with Amon-Ra being out and Jamison Williams probably being limited as he is just now coming back from the suspension, and I believe he had a hamstring injury, is somebody has got to get these catches for Detroit, right? Josh Reynolds would be the most logical one, but Josh Reynolds has never been a guy that gets a ton of targets. If you made me bet, I would bet that Khalif Raymond will be probably playing that slot role that we see Amon-Ra in so much, and I think that he is a guy that could get upwards of 7 or 8 targets and could probably get you that 6 catches for 60 yards, and hopefully he falls in the box, and at 3,300, that will definitely pay off. But if you made me for the best pass catcher, definitely for Detroit, is probably going to be Laporta. I think he is really establishing himself as a top 5 fantasy tight end this year. And with Amon-Ra out, I imagine he's probably set up for like 8 to 10 targets, which is pretty awesome for a tight end this year when tight ends suck. For Carolina, look, I'm not buying the Thielen bullshit. I think it's going to fade. I do not like Carolina here. I know Detroit in that stadium, teams do tend to go off, and I'm always warm to an ugly stack. And if you want to go Bryce Young, Thielen, and Mingo, or Thielen and Chark, or something like that, I get it. I respect a disgusting stack. I really do. But, man, I just haven't seen anything from Bryce Young to make me think he doesn't suck. That's the problem, right? I need to see a little bit, and I haven't seen it yet, right? I just need to see an inkling. And if I want to play a gross stack this week, I think I've got other ones I like more. So as much as I appreciate, and I am definitely encouraging people to try dirty, filthy, disgusting, whorish stacks this week, I don't think that's the one I want to get in. Tennessee, Indianapolis. Look, people are really sneaky on this game, and I'm just going to tell you, I think Anthony Richardson is real good. How good? Real good. He was real good. He played like garbage last week and still got me 30 points. The dude is good. They got Jonathan Taylor back. I think that's going to make their offense only more dynamic, right? I think that only increases the value of Anthony Richardson is now those, whenever he runs the zone read, they're going to have to respect it even more because he might be giving the ball to Jonathan Taylor. So I think Anthony Richardson's a great play. I will tell you, he is hard as shit to stack. Okay? He's like barely throws the forward pass, and when he does, he's wildly inconsistent. Pittman is, of course, the obvious one, but I think that Downs, give him another shot. He is on the field a lot. He does get targeted. If you want a cheap stack, Richardson and Downs could be the one, and then you could run it back with maybe a Derrick Henry, or maybe even DeAndre Hopkins, because Treylon Burks is out. When Treylon Burks is out, you got to imagine a little bit of that's going to go to Hopkins. I just hate that every freaking pass that Hopkins has to catch is contested. He never gets free catches. So maybe Westbrook-Ikhine is the guy, but overall, I know this game's in a dome. I know Indianapolis loves a good shootout, but I just don't think Tennessee can push anybody, Bob. Maybe I'm going to be wrong. I would like it a lot more if they had Treylon Burks. The Giants and Miami, probably my favorite game on the slate. There is a chance of rain, but it's Miami, so it would only be news if it wasn't raining. Look, Daniel Jones just came off a horrific game last week. I mean, horrific. The Giants look terrible. They're the worst team in the NFL. They could never do good. You should just give up on them. Or they could. You need to remember that, all right? Daniel Jones is not a good NFL quarterback, okay? He's not. He is not a good NFL quarterback. But you know what's funny? He's a good fantasy quarterback. And on the flip side of that, Tua is a really good NFL quarterback, and he's not as good of a fantasy. I would rather have Daniel Jones over Tua many, many weeks, right? Now, if I were NFL GM, I would take Tua over Daniel Jones every single day, but that's not what we're here doing on this little show, is it? We're trying to get guys who win this fantasy football contest, and Daniel Jones at 5,800 is going to be running for his life. He's going to be chunking the ball, and they are certainly going to be in an up-paced game. Miami will score 28 points. I can almost guarantee it, and that means the Giants, if they're going to have any pulse, they're either going to come storming back in the second half, or they're going to keep up with Miami and also match that scoring. I think Saquon being back, even if he's limited, is very good news for Daniel Jones. He's still questionable, but I have a feeling he's probably going to play. Biggest problem with Daniel Jones is who the hell do you stack him with? The most obvious answer would be Darren Waller, but he really hasn't lived up to it this year, but he is getting the most targets. But I think the one that you could do, if you want to play the Wan'Dale chalk, which he is going to be chalky at 3,000, he is clearly emerging as the number one wide receiver. The way you can play him and be different is you play him with Daniel Jones, because people are going to play Wan'Dale for the salary relief. They're not going to play him with Daniel Jones. Heading over to Miami, Devin Achane, I think, is probably going to be, well, now with the Montgomery news, he will probably be the second highest owned running back on this slate. He is going to be wildly popular. And I get it. They're at home. They're in a great scoring environment. There is a chance at a blowout, which I think only improves his value as he will continue to be out there. But here's what I will tell you about old Devin Achane. You're really relying on efficiency. I would be shocked if he got over 15 touches in this game. And you're going to need him to get 20 points. And for him to get 20 points on, let's say, 14 touches, that means he has to average 1.5 points per touch. That is wildly efficient. So just be careful with that, right? There is a very good chance he could just get an 8-burger, right? And a lot of people's lineups will be dead. So I would say I don't mind Devin Achane if you're stacking this game or you want him with a correlation, but to just run him as a naked piece in this game, you're really relying on efficiency, and I know that he's been getting more and more work, but a lot of that has just been because most are either fumbled or the games were blowouts. Tyreek Hill is, to me, it's like, do you play Justin Jefferson, you play Tyreek Hill? And maybe the answer is both. I think they're just both an absolute smash spots. Tyreek Hill absolutely slays when he's at home. They have a huge total. Now Waddle's back, so, you can't just completely guard Tyreek. You got to respect Waddle. And I think Tyreek Hill is in a great spot. And Jalen Waddle, no one's going to play him. And if you want to play the second wide receiver for a team with a 29-point total, that probably 3% ownership, Jalen Waddle is your dude. Moving on to New England and New Orleans, let me save you a lot of time. Just don't fucking play anybody in this game. There you go. You're welcome. You're welcome. Don't say I never did anything for you, okay? Derek Carr is just, he's unplayable. I wish he would just go away so I could have Jameis Winston back in my life. Alvin Kamara is interesting. He had a good fantasy week his first week back, but if you really go look at it, it was so disgusting what he did with like 500 catches last week. It was so stupid. Not sustainable. The running back situation, you know that Kendrick's going to surely get more involved. You don't give up that much draft equity to not use him. At wide receiver, Olave is a dude that I'm a truther on, and he's $6,900. Nice. But, Derek Carr's throwing in the ball, and as long as Derek Carr's, this is the problem with NFL wide receivers. I've already said it once. I'll say it again. Chris Olave, he has to have a guy throw him the ball, and that guy's name's Derek Carr, and Derek Carr sucks, okay? Going over to New Orleans, going over to tight end, we do have Juwan Johnson out, so I guess Foster Moreau probably takes over. Maybe we see some more Taysom Hill out there, but Taysom Hill really only has any value when he's lining up taking those quarterback snaps. Heading over to New England, we do got to watch Ramondre Stevenson. Hey, guy in the back, where did Ramondre go to college? That's right. Fuck Texas. Fuck Texas. All right, sorry. That won't be the last one, I can assure you. Ramondre Stevenson, if he's healthy at 5,600, is starting to get playable. If you forced me to play one piece of this game, it would be that. But Jesus, here's a good piece of advice. Don't stack this game. Don't correlate this game. At most, play a one-off piece from this game. All right, let's get to our last early slate. There's only 6 early games tomorrow, which should really factor into your late swap strategy. Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett is very, very questionable. Look, I don't think whether he plays or not, Pittsburgh is just not a great play. Okay, like they only have a 16-point total, which for the NFL is laughably low. Baltimore has a slow offense that controls the ball and a good defense. Playing anybody from Pittsburgh, Darnell Washington might be a good punt with Freiermuth out. We know that the Steelers love to target their tight end, so maybe you hope Darnell Washington gets 5 catches for 40 yards and a touchdown, and that would definitely be a monster week at a $2,500 price tag. But man, it's hard to get there with any of these guys. On the flip side, Baltimore, I just feel like Lamar is a little overpriced, and he's impossibly hard to stack. We also have Odell Beckham and Bateman back this week, which I think kind of nerfs the value of Zay Flowers a little bit. And of course, Mark Andrews is still just ridiculously underpriced. He is the second best tight end in the NFL, and he's $5,500. And oh yeah, where did he go to school? That's right. Fuck Texas. We're celebrating all night. Let me get a sip of that ranch water. So I'm always open to Mark Andrews, but man, that just seems like a really sloggy game. I'm not trying to get in. All right, let's move to the 4 afternoon games. Cincinnati, Arizona. I'm telling you, this game has sneaky shootout vibes. Cincinnati has been hopeless this year. There is no chance they could ever do good, or they could. And if you didn't hear, T. Higgins is out, which weirdly enough makes me like Cincinnati more because now he basically has 2 guys to throw the ball to, Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd. I think Tyler Boyd's probably going to be mega chalk now. So a Joe Burrow stack with Chase and Boyd makes a lot of sense. It really does. And now Irv Smith's back too, so I guess you could even mix him into that rotation if you're building multiple lineups. But I think the forgotten guy here might just be Joe Mixon. Where'd he go to school? Fuck Texas. Fuck Texas. All right, so Joe Mixon might be the sneaky play here. Look, Joe Mixon is not efficient. He is not good, but he is playing Arizona. If there's ever a team he could have a good game against, it would be Arizona. Furthermore, the dude is on the field the whole game. He gets true workhorse type usage. So I get it. If Joe Mixon could ever just not suck for a game, this would be a great week to play. But it's going to be really hard to not play Chase and Boyd. But I do worry. Burrow might be broken. He might be broken. Now, if we're going to talk filthy stacks, I'd be remiss if I didn't try to sell you on Josh Dobbs, all right? Josh Dobbs is horrible, all right? He's not an NFL quarterback, but you know what? He's a fantasy quarterback because he can run the ball, and they're going to be playing at home where they score more points, and they have a 21-point total, and they're going to be against a team which, in theory, they should be playing from behind and being pushed. Josh Dobbs is a very cheap quarterback. Josh Dobbs has very cheap options. You compare him with Marquise Brown. Oh, Hollywood. Where'd he get that name from? That's right. Very affordable at $5,000 with big playability. And this Michael Wilson 3,700 has also been emerging. Zach Ertz gets I believe 9 million targets a game. So Joshua Dobbs becomes a super, super cheap, filthy stack. And if he gets you 22 points, that could likely be enough to get you there because that allows you to go get that Jefferson, to go get that Tyreek Hill, to run a run back with Jamar Chase, right? You see how it lets you get these studs in there? I'm not saying that this is a good stack. I'm saying be open to these filthy stacks because what they allow you to do with the rest of your lineup. That's what I'm trying to say. Moving over to Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts. Where did he go to school? That's right. I'm not going to play the music, but fuck Texas. Okay. Every player in the NFL went to OU. That's why we win. Okay. Okay. Jalen Hurts is awesome. Jalen Hurts, his team has the second largest total on this slate. Jalen Hurts has not lived up to what we expected from him this year, but man, this is a great scoring environment. It is so hard not to run a Jalen Hurts stack this week, right? And the great thing about Jalen Hurts is you really only got to run him with one pass catcher. He gets so much done with his legs and the fucking tush push that he can get there with just one wide receiver. I would probably pick A.J. Brown, but I think Devontae Smith or Dallas Goedert could be those solo guys too. But here's what I'll tell you. When you start spending that much money on your quarterback and a receiver, you're really pigeonholing yourself into what the rest of your lineup's going to look like. This is what I'm talking about. If you're okay with punt wide receivers or punt running backs, then you can go spend up on this super expensive Rolls-Royce type stack of Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, right? You have the funds to do that. But if you don't want to punt at running back, you don't want to punt at wide receiver, then you can't not afford this stack, and you're gonna have to build your stacks elsewhere. But at the same time, this stack is beautiful, right? Because Jalen Hurts is awesome at fantasy. Jalen Hurts has very concentrated usage with his wide receivers, and the best part is the Rams have a really good offense that can push them. You got Puka, you've got Kupp, you've got Kieran Williams as probably the three most logical run backs. But I will warn you, as much as I like Kieran Williams because that backfield is his, I do not love Kupp and Nakua's situation. They're both very, very pricey, and we don't know what this situation is going to look like. There's just no way Kupp can come back and get 13 targets, and we're going to see Nakua continue to get his 12.5. It is mathematically impossible, right? Because they're still going to throw it to Higbee. They're still going to throw it to Atwell. Van Jefferson will still get his 2 drops a game. So this gets really tricky. So if you want to run a Philly stack, you want to run Hurts and Brown, you want to run it back with Kieran Williams, I think that makes a ton of sense. This is going to be a high-scoring competitive game, and you usually want to get action in those types of games. But if you're going to do that, you are spending a vast amount of your salary on just those 3 guys. So you better have a plan in place on where you're going to use that money elsewhere, okay? You got to be thinking about when I choose this stack and I choose this run back, what does it do to the rest of my lineup? The Jets and the Broncos, I hear some people trying to talk up Zach Wilson. Not in this lifetime, pal. Not in this lifetime. Breece Hall does seem as though he is going to get a full workload now at 5,400. That is interesting, especially against this Denver defense. But I'm just going to tell you, I know he had the long runs against the Bills, but I think Breece Hall looks kind of slow. He still looks like 80% of the old Breece Hall. I'm not convinced he's back. I would rather spend that money. I'd rather just spend the extra $1,000 and go play a chalky David Montgomery. Breece Hall, Michael Carter's still in the picture. Dalvin Cook's, they overpaid. He's still going to get his touches. I just don't love that situation. I get the Zach Wilson stack. If we're talking filthy stacks, you got to be open to Zach Wilson. But him and Desmond Ridder are just a special level of suck that not even I can go to, okay? I've given you 3 other disgusting ones to consider. I can't in good conscience tell you Zach Wilson and Desmond Ridder is filthy stacks. The one nice thing I can say about him is he does get to throw the ball to Garrett Wilson, who's pretty damn good. He's the one Wilson that's not derpy. For Denver, Javonte does appear to be back, which to me makes this backfield almost unplayable, right? Because Ryan's going to get his, McLaughlin's going to get his. I just want nothing to do with that. The wide receivers, Marvin Mims is the best receiver on that team. Let's go. Boomer Sooner, fuck Texas. He is the best wide receiver on that team, but they're still going to throw the ball to Judy and Sutton more. So this is just a game I don't want anything to do with because I don't want anything to do with these teams, right? And then lastly, probably the chalkiest game on the slate, we have the Chiefs versus the Vikings, a game that you, as always, I always tell you, I think there's 3 ways to play these. You can be overweight on them, you can play them differently, or you can completely fade it. And to me, what I have found at NFL DFS, that completely fading the chalkiest game just tends to never work out well. Okay, it never works out well, so I don't do it. I will have a piece of this game, but I'm going to ask myself, how can I get pieces of this game that are either affordable, or how can I play them in a way that nobody else is playing them? That's the 2 things I'm going to consider. On the Kansas City side, Patrick Mahomes is just, I made myself a promise 3 years ago to never play him on main slate stacks because he's so expensive, right? You always have to put him with Kelsey, and then you try to guess what wide receiver is also going to get there, and you'll never guess right. You'll never guess right, or he'll throw it to a fucking fullback, or Jerick McKinnon, or whoever, and it's just impossible to stack Patrick Mahomes. He's so hard to stack. At Showdown, I love him, but with main slate, he will drive you crazy. I think Isaiah Pacheco could be a guy that could come in and could steal a lot of this usage from the passing game. He seems to really be trending towards taking over that backfield. He is only getting better, and at 5,700 seems like a really good price. If you force me to pick one of these wide receivers, I guess Sky Moore, but honestly, I don't want to play any of them. And if I don't want to play any of those guys, what, am I just going to stack Mahomes with only Kelsey? Because Mahomes is the guy that almost certainly has to drag 2 guys across the finish line with him because he just doesn't offer the rushing upside that some of the other elite quarterbacks like Hurts and Allen offer. For Minnesota, Kirk Cousins at home always interests me, especially against a team that will push him. I will say that, pocket passers I've just gotten really cold on for my stacks. I just like those guys that offer those rushing touchdowns. When your guy gets a 7-yard rushing touchdown, it's just so freaking valuable in the NFL, right? So I prefer those guys. Kirk Cousins never ran 7 yards in his life. Okay, maybe backwards. Alexander Madison, I'm really worried that Cam Akers is going to continue just keep chipping away and taking a little bit of that role. Justin Jefferson is probably the most safe thing you could have. If he doesn't get 20 points, I would probably eat my hat live on the air. He's just a shoe-in to get some. Jordan Addison is a dude that's due for that big breakout game, but it's just crazy that they don't give him more usage. He's only on the field for 64% of the plays. And TJ Hawkinson, every time nobody plays him, he always seems to go for 35 points. So to me, this is a game I'm going to get pieces of. I just got to think, how can I get in here and get weird? And maybe the answer is play Pacheco. Maybe the answer is play Sky Moore. Maybe the answer is play Jordan Addison. Maybe the answer is play Hawkinson. Maybe I do a little correlation there, right? I don't know. Maybe I run Jefferson because I think Jefferson running it back with Pacheco is going to be popular. Running Jefferson and run it back with Kelsey is going to be popular, right? So what am I going to do? And I'm going to ask myself. And these are questions I ask myself when I'm building my lineups, okay? That is the Rosetta Stone. Let's get to the questions. But before we do, come check out my site, dgen75.com, the fastest growing community in all of DFS. We do things a little bit different over there, right? First of all, it is not about me. It is about the community. It is, you'll never see me flexing with my screenshots. I always celebrate all of our winners. Look at all those winners from last week. Congratulations to all my homies. We also are all about making it affordable and not price gouging you. Matter of fact, because September was the biggest month we've ever had, for just the month of October, I'm doing this 1 month giveaway or sign-up bonus where if you use code NEWGUY, you can try the site out for a week or 10% off. Or if you want to try it out before you get there, just simply go sign up for my newsletter. Let the editor know right down here, Twitter, support DGen75, and they'll get you hooked up with a free week, and then you can use that code to sign up. And oh yeah, I have the best tool of all of NFL DFS. You're like, hey, I need optimals, got him. Hey, I need projections, got him. Hey, I need ownership, got him. Hey, I need to know what's the difference between a cash play and a GPP play, got it. I need to know who's a high leverage play, got it. I got everything you need on here. Everything. What's a good game to target, got it. I need to know who's injured, got it. Everything that you need is on here, right? It's a fucking play sheet. You're going to want to use this, okay? Editor, in the chat, we're up to another one. Do me another drawing. Let's get me up to 150 likes so we can do another one before we get out of here. Editor, draw a name. While you do that, I'm going to draw the Twitter name. This is for everybody that liked and retweeted on Twitter. I'll do it every Friday night at 7 o'clock. It's the 24-hour warning. Simply do it, and you'll get on this wheel. I appreciate you guys. The winner is Luke Dominic 2. Reach out, or Luke Dominic 20. I'm going to assume that 0 carried over. Reach out to me. I'm going to assume you're on Twitter, seeing you liked and retweeted. Yeah, motherfather. So make sure to reach out to me, and we will build a lineup and put it in the big millionaire maker tomorrow. On me, I'll split the profits with you 50-50. Oh, no, Nick won. Let's go. All right, we're giving it to Nick. Get me to 150 likes. Because Nick thinks that it's Nick's always said that this is rigged. The real answer is he just doesn't run very pure. He doesn't run pure. Okay. I already see Dean asking about the weather. Dean, you have the stone, and you can see on here we have the little symbol, right? We got domes and sunny. A lot of sunny dome tomorrow. All right, I'm going to answer some questions while y'all get me up to 150 likes. Once we get to 150 likes, we will do another Millionaire Maker drawing. I appreciate every single one of you. In the meantime, I'm going to start answering your questions. I can already smell dinner cooking. I can already feel my Sooners. Oh, we're celebrating tonight. We're celebrating tonight with ranch water. I don't give a shit if you're here for NFL. My Sooners beat the shit out of Texas. The score was close, but we did beat the shit out of them. If you take out special teams, we win by 31, okay? Deal with it, pal. And for all you Horns fans, I don't care. I mean, I don't want to dislike you, but today I dislike you. I'm trying to upgrade to pivot. I don't know what the fuck that means, David. I'm trying to upgrade to pivot. I don't know. I'm not sure what that means, brother. Oh, wait. Steven won. You did 2 drawings, editor? Why did you do 2, you donkey dick? All right, Steven, I guess you win a free ticket. There you go, because you're my boy. All right, let's see. These are not questions. These are statements. You got to make sure to put a question mark or I'm not going to read them. Is Burrow Chase stack sneaky because everyone is scared of Burrow? I think so, Doug. I think Chase will be popular. I do not think Burrow will be popular, right? So I think maybe the way that you play him is what I was saying earlier, right? Is like people are going to play Wan'Dale Robinson, so maybe you play him with Daniel Jones. People are going to play Jamar Chase, so maybe you play him with Burrow. I don't hate that at all, and I do think that is a way to get different, right? I will warn you that if you go Burrow, Chase, and Boyd, that will be a very common one, right? But you could run it back with Hollywood. Boomer Sooner. How many Lions would be too many in a lineup? Andrew, I got to tell you, with all these injuries, I'm having a hard time. I guess you could run 3, right? I mean, what? Let's see. You could go Goff, Montgomery, Raymond. Goff, Montgomery, Laporta, Goff, Montgomery. Yeah, I just don't want 4, right? I think Detroit's going to play very conservative tomorrow, and I think they only get to 21 or 24 points. So to put 4 Lions in a lineup, I think you're really forcing yourself down a very narrow chain of events that would have to happen for all 4 guys to get there, right? I just don't think this game shoots out. Right, I think they're going to play ahead and play conservative, and Bryce Young sucks. There's that also. You got to factor that in. What do you think about a chain ownership comes in at? Phil, I think we have him at like 22, 23%. It should be on the stone. I'm pretty sure you have access to that. Jay Still, rarely MME, but going to do it tomorrow. How many QB should I have in my pool? So if you're talking MME, that usually means 150 lineups. That's how many you can put in a mass multi-entry. If you're doing 150, I would probably be at 5 or 6. I don't think you want to play them all, right? I would probably play 5, 30 a piece, right? And then, make sure you pick guys that have a lot of different guys that you can mix and match with them, right? And a good, mix and match your run backs too. That's how I usually do it. But I don't play 150 because I just don't like playing in contests like that. How many carries for JT tomorrow? Is Moss toast? Yes, Moss is toast for sure. And I say JT gets 12 to 15 carries. 12 to 15 would be my guess. It'll be more than people expect, but not enough that I could justify playing him. Ride with a Chan one more time? I mean, I have pretty strong feelings about a Chan tomorrow. If you were running him as some part of a correlation or a game stack, I think a Chan is very good. But if you're just if he's the one piece you're trying to get from this game, I don't like it. I just don't like guys who you have to rely on efficiency. Now, if his efficiency is connected to the shootout nature of this game, say the Giants do get to 28 and push, the Dolphins to 31 or something like that, well then I would want some of him in that case. But if you think that this game, if I'm just grabbing one piece of this game, I don't want it to be a Chan. That's my answer. Eder, did you mean to draw 2? I saw my name come up. He wasn't supposed to, Steven. He wasn't supposed to, but I'm a nice guy. Chad, if I'm building 30 lineups for a large field MME, I'm building 1 to 2 quarterbacks, 4 to 5 running backs. Yeah, I think those are pretty good numbers, Chad. I build about 20 to 22 lineups a week, and I'm not too far off from those numbers, so I think that those are pretty good. Keep it like a toiga. Remember that. Switch a Chan to Mostert. Yeah, I like a Chan more than Mostert. I do kind of feel like he's getting out. Calvin says, love the content. Hey, let's go Buckeyes. I see your little symbol there. You guys have me a little scared today. Hey, maybe we'll see each other in the playoffs. Now I'm a Sooner fan. I could talk playoffs, because we're like 6-0 and shit. Anyone else like Raymond, Laporta, Goff stack? I think it makes a lot of sense, Romy. My only concern is, will they get conservative and just run the shit out of David Montgomery as they're playing ahead? That would be my only concern. But it does make a lot of sense, right? It does. It's weird. When good players like Amon-Ra go out, it makes me like that quarterback more. Just like with Joe Burrow, he was never on my radar to be a stack this week. But then when I saw T. Higgins was out, I was like, okay, Joe, tell me a little more. I don't know. I could listen, I guess. So, I'm open to that kind of stuff. Does anyone not like Dome? Not around me, brother. We all like Dome. Keep hitting that like button. 174 people, 109 likes. We got some slapdicks in here tonight. Hey, mother father, you think Zach Wilson stacks will be popular in single 3 entries? I do not. I think that people are talking about it because it's fun to talk about it, but if he comes in at over 3% ownership, I would be flabbergasted. Stafford touchdown regression weekend coming? I mean, that makes sense. It does, and that is a great game. The only thing with Stafford is he's just one of those guys, like, what's his upside? Like, the best game he could have would be 320 yards passing and, 2 touchdowns? That'd be, 12, 15, 23 points? Like, that's just not great, man. He just never really seems to have those massive games. That's my problem with him. Pocket passers, I'm just not a big fan. Those rushing touchdowns, I'm going to tell you something. A great mathematician once told me they are 50% more than passing touchdowns. I believe it was Einstein that said that. Is it crazy to use Jonathan Taylor? I think it's getting too cute, Doug. Favorite sleeper game this week? My favorite sleeper game, one that could shoot out that no one is even considering. I guess this Cardinals and Bengals game. Maybe people are considering that, but that would be mine, right? It only has a, what is that, a 44.5 total? That's not a shootout score. Who's your favorite stack? I don't answer shit like that. Am I too late? Yeah, you're too late, pal. Be on time. 7 o'clock means 7 o'clock in the Lord's time zone. Thoughts on Jacksonville Bills early game? I have a whole Rosetta Stone, Andrew. You're over on the site. Check it out. We put it out. Actually, have we put it out, editor? Get the fucking stone out for that game. It will be out. If it's not, we will have one. Would a $12 single entry be considered a small tourney? Yeah, well, okay, so it doesn't depend what the buy-in entry is. It depends on how many people are in it, right? If it's a $12 single entry with 10,000 people in it, that is not small. But if it's a $12 single entry with 1,000 people in it, I would consider that small. To me, the number is 5,000, and I like it to be closer to 2,000. You know what I'm saying, bro? Ranch water smacking tonight, fellas. It is smacking. It seems like Lamar is low owned and has been kicking butt. Yeah, I just don't like that game environment, Steven. I agree that Lamar has been kicking butt. Lamar is awesome, and Lamar is going to be low owned. I agree with all 3 of those points. I just don't love that game environment, and I like my stacks to be in high-scoring game environments. I'm not considering a run back in my main overweight stack. Am I crazy? You know, Brock, I've kind of cooled a little bit on the run backs. Like, let's say I was running a Lamar stack tomorrow. I don't think I would run it back with a Steeler. I think I would just run like Lamar and Andrews, and that's it. I don't think you always have to have a run back. Sometimes teams just blow out the other team. It is preferable when the other team pushes them, but that doesn't always happen. So I still usually do a run back, but I don't make it like it's not a rule that I follow 100% of the time now. How many big balls does it take to enter one lineup in a 20 max in a 20x in my 20 max? Big balls, big hairy balls. Definitely a Mostert week this week. I don't know, man. I kind of want to stay away from that. It does feel more like a Chan is more of the home run hitter. But I feel like if they get ahead, they're going to just give the ball to a Chan more, right? That's my biggest fear. Thoughts on correlation of lineup versus none? I always like of course I want to have at least one stack, right? And I do like a little mini correlation from another game, but I try to make sure that at least 5 of my 9 guys are somehow correlated. But sometimes that could just be my running back is on the same team as my defense because those 2 things are positively correlated, right? So what team or game are you going to fade this week? Yeah, I'm not going to have anything to do with this. I might punt with Darnell Washington. I'm not going to play anybody from this Saints-New England game. Even my Sooners, baby. Sooners. Mister. Feels like there's 5 viable running backs. We've got the Miami guys, Montgomery, Swift, Brees. Who's your get different back? Pacheco for sure. Is Goff more appealing now as that cheapo stack? He is, right? Because he becomes really cheap because his options are also very stackable. Once again, I'm just a little concerned that David Montgomery vultures the shit out of him. But maybe that's the best way to get off the Montgomery chalk is to simply go play the stack, hope they pass all those touchdowns, that dicks over Montgomery, and your cheap stack gets there, and then you can still go play that Tyreek Hill or that Justin Jefferson or whatever pay-up options you want. I actually kind of dig that, Eduardo. I think you're doing an inception on my ass. Which game could be a sneaky shootout? Already answered it. Jones stack, don't hate it. Jay Williams, an option for Detroit? I don't think so, man. On the limited snap count, we already kind of have an idea of what they did with him last year when he came back, David, and it wasn't great those first couple weeks, right? He just didn't get a ton of snaps, and I'm never going to rely on efficiency from a running back, or a wide receiver, I mean. When you drink ranch water, do you ever get spicy and try it with lime topo? No, I put fresh lime in it, so I'm not going to do lime topo. What a ridiculous question. Okay, my real question is Burrow broken? I kind of feel that way. I feel like if he doesn't get together this week, we can officially call him broken, Nathan. New Orleans defense going to be chalky? Yeah, I mean, probably. By chalky, they'll be like 10 or 12%. Thank you, Soon Pick. Want some money? Nobody I know picked Oklahoma. There it is. Hey, Anytime the whole community agrees on something, go the other way because they're fucking morons. So basically how I've played DFS this long. Rashee Rice, a good pivot off a chalky Wandell. I mean, I guess. I just think Wandell probably has a safer floor. And, like, what's Rashee Rice going to get? 34% of the snap count? All right, Stacy. What's up, Stacy? Saucy last name. Who do I play without Baker being available this week? I guess Jalen Hurts. Go with another Sooner quarterback? Come on, guy in the back. Come on. Let's go. There we go. Guy in the back's getting fired up. He loves the music. All right, Ertz or Pitts, as gross as a low tight end cost. I would take Ertz, but that might be just because I'm a little biased towards that game. Is punt wide receiver liable this week? I assume you mean viable this week. Is there a cheap guys in good spots? I like punting at wide receiver this week. I'm not punting at running back, so if I'm not going to punt at running back, I either have to punt with my stacks or with one or two of my receivers, and I've kind of started to sell myself on some of these tight ends. I'm starting to like some of these tight ends, and none of them are cheap, Bob. None of them are cheap. All right, Crypto Pooper, do you think that Carolina can stack the box and slow down Montgomery? I mean, they can, but they're going to get their asses kicked. I don't know. I don't think so. Like, that's what you would always think, but like those guys just still seem to get there. He's going to get 20 carries. How many games on a large Sunday slate do you usually play? I will probably have action, by action, I mean a player at least in 7 of these 10 games. I can already see at least 3 games I'm just like straight fading. Nick, our winner. Congratulations, Nick. Where do I find the Discord link? Editor, can you send that to her, please? Any weather issues? It doesn't look like it. Do you play DK Superflex? I don't, Jeff, but I should. It seems fun. It's basically what college football is, and college football's good. I mean, I'm free rolling at NFL tomorrow because I already won like $2,000 at college football today. I do this crazy thing called cash, and I play good plays. It's bold. It's bold, but I do it. Some people say I shouldn't, but I do. Should I get a ticket for the Texas hate? No. You can give me a ticket because my Sooners whoop that ass, whoop that ass, whoop that ass. Have a skinny stack and no bringbacks and then correlate the rest, maybe one off. I don't mind that, Jason. I really don't. Like, if you like, let's just use an example. Say you want to run Daniel Jones and Wandell, right? That's it. You don't like anybody from Arizona or from Miami to run it back, which would be weird that you don't like them, but let's just say that, okay? And then you go correlate and you go grab 3 pieces from the Kansas City and Minnesota game. I don't hate that. That's still correlation. Doesn't always have to be a quarterback and wide receiver, although you would have your quarterback and wide receiver, but doesn't always have to be 2 wide receivers and a run back from the opposite team. Thoughts on playing both Achane and Mostert together? Hate it. Absolutely hate it. I mean, I hate it. Maybe it'll get there. You can come spike the football on me, but I hate it. If you use Montgomery with the Detroit D, is that making you different? I mean, very mildly. Defense isn't the place to really get different to me. I don't really even think about defense. I'm a new guy, LOL. How do I contact you for contest? I see the little thing down here. Support DGen75 on Twitter. Just reach out to them over there. They'll get you taken care of. I got a whole team of people that help me. CJ and Nico, or we pivot to. I mean, I think one of those guys is good. If you don't like Nico, just go play frickin' Dell. Old tank. Okay, he's skinny, but he's a tank. Tua and Waddle enough to if you play Waddle with Tua, no one's going to be on that. I think Waddle's going to be a forgotten about commodity this week, and I'm almost talked myself into I need to play some of that motherfather. Do you like the one-off tight ends or prefer correlation? So that's pretty easy to answer, right? If my stack they have a tight end that I like, let's say I'm playing Goff, of course I'm going to want to have Laporta to stack with him. But say that I'm playing heaven forbid I'm playing a Russell Wilson stack, right? And I don't want to play Adam Troutman. Well, then I don't mind a punt tight end there, right? Just a one-off tight end. Yep. With a 10 max DK and a one QB stack, too tight of a player pool. No, I don't think so. That's how I do it. Would you play Mahomes and 2 wides hopping on another week of Kelsey does not pay off? Would you play No. What 2 are you going to pick, Steven? Like, if you can see the future and you can pick 2 Kansas City receivers that Mahomes gets there on the same week, you are a magic man. You are a shaman. If Barkley plays, can he be put in a stack or maybe he will be limited? I think he is going to be limited. I think he's going to play, and I think we're going to see probably equivalent to what we'll see with Jonathan Taylor. Should the editor throw the red flag? No, he shouldn't. What was the score in the Sooners game? 34-30, I believe. I don't know. We whooped that ass. That's all I remember. All right. I told you I wasn't going to stop. I skipped over Jason's question. Anthony Richardson and Pittman stack, bring back with DH. Don't hate it. Anthony Richardson's good at fantasy football. The sooner you accept that, the more happy your life will be. He sucked last week. He got 30 points. I watched every play of the game. He was bad, and he still got there. X-Durka, I'm late. We don't deal with lates around here, okay? All right, looks like I got through all the questions. Go me. 188 of you, only 123 likes. Yeah, donkeys. I appreciate all of you being here. Those winners, reach out to me. We'll build lineups together. Do not forget to come check out this schedule. Go get in my contest right now, you motherfather. Get it filled. And don't forget to use my code NEWGUY or just reach out using the support right down here. Sign up for the newsletter. We'll give you a free week on the site. You won't regret it. They always just fucking sign up the next week anyways. All right, guys. It's been real. It's been fun. The big guy's got to run, but not before you enjoy this outro.